And, the ratings were phenomenal because of Caitlin Clark. She didn't want to take credit for all of those ratings, but we all realize that Caitlin Clark single-handedly is responsible.
When it was Caitlin Clark, it was massive numbers. When it wasn't, it was even less on average than the previous playoff series.
The WNBA latest ratings are in. And let's be honest, they're just not the same without Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in the WNBA playoffs.
The ratings were phenomenal because of Caitlin Clark. She didn't want to take credit for all of those ratings. A lot of people in the mainstream that were tuning in regularly to WNBA were not doing the same last year or the year prior.
Game 1 of the highly anticipated Aces versus. Liberty matchup averaged only 912,000 viewers, down nearly 50% from last Sunday's Fever versus Sun contest. Not only has viewership plummeted, but attendance is falling as well.
During the first game, game 1, this is her first playoff game, her debut, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun, raking in 1.84 million viewers. Game 2, this was an elimination game, so season on the line here, raking in even more viewers, 2.54 million viewers. Now, let's take those numbers, 1.84, 2.54 million, and compare them to the first weekend of playoff action without Caitlin Clark in the mix. The numbers were nowhere near what they were with Caitlin Clark. Let's take a look at them. The first game between the defending champions, the Aces and the Liberty, this was a rematch of last year's WNBA finals. So two very hyped up teams, two of the premier teams in the league, defending champions on the floor, drew an audience of 929,000, according to ESPN. That is 50% less than the Fever's Game 1 against the Sun, and even less than the Fever's Game 2 against the Sun.
Look at the WNBA playoffs viewership numbers. Honestly, it's shocking. Now compare that to the viewership for an Indiana Fever game when Caitlin Clark hits the court. The difference is massive. It's like comparing a primetime blockbuster to a midday rerun. The energy, the excitement, the sheer number of eyes glued to the screen, Caitlin Clark makes that happen.
So, no surprise to anyone. The WNBA playoff ratings, we mentioned this a bit earlier in the week, they're down. We knew they would be down. They're going to continue to go down 50% compared to what it was like with Caitlin Clark for the two games that she was in the postseason. Outkick has the story available right now. You can go to outkick.com. Caitlin Clark's final WNBA playoff game, 2.5 million viewers. And then the best game since she's been eliminated, 929,000 viewers. Now, the WNBA, I guess, Chad, is getting what they want.
WNBA players are speaking out, and they're not happy. They believe fans have turned their backs on the league after Caitlin Clark's controversial elimination. Could this be the beginning of the end for the WNBA's newfound popularity?
The first game between the defending champions, the Aces and the Liberty, this was a rematch of last year's WNBA finals. So two very hyped up teams, two of the premier teams in the league, defending champions on the floor, drew an audience of 929,000, according to ESPN. That is 50% less than the Fever's Game 1 against the Sun, and even less than the Fever's Game 2 against the Sun. Still, though, the number, like I said, given the fact that before the season, a lot of people weren't even paying attention to the league, the numbers weren't even close to what they were this season. It's still something that the WNBA should be proud of. But let's look at the other series that's going on, right? That was one of the series. There's also another series happening simultaneously, Sun Lynx. They had an audience of around just 650,000. So that's even lower than what we witnessed between the Aces and the Liberty.
What kind of league allows its brightest star to be treated so poorly all season long? No home playoff game for the Fever, ridiculous fouls against Clark, and now the league is paying the price as viewers disappear. It's a disaster. And here's the kicker. The ratings drop the closer we get to the championship. What kind of sport has diminishing ratings as the stakes get higher? This should be studied. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's the entire pulse of this league. Without her, the WNBA is losing momentum fast.
So this year it averaged 421,000 in the three other playoff appearances. Openers, I should say. Last year was 490. I mean, it's down. It's gone up a bit, but it's not good.
But the fact that the ratings from Caitlin Clark's series to these series fell off a cliff, it should surprise no one.
And now, Caitlin is off to Europe, supposedly taking a break. But what if a big money move to the EuroLeague tempts her away? Ice Cube was ready to throw $5 million her way for fewer than 10 games in the Big Three. What's stopping a European team from offering her a life-changing deal? The WNBA can't afford to lose her, yet they've given her every reason to walk away. She'd earn 10 times what she's making now, and she'd be treated like the superstar she is.
But there was a lot of people trying to make sure they keep Caitlin Clark in her place, because what you're doing, if you give her all this shine, you minimize what they done. You can't minimize what Maya Moore or Candace Parker or Lisa Leslie or Lauren Jackson or Diana Taurasi or Simone Augustus or any of the other great players. That Caitlin Clark, what she's doing, doesn't minimize what they've done. But we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings. We saw the merchandise sales. We saw the attendance. But y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this. And instead of giving her credit, y'all tried to make it about, oh, y'all poo-pooing the old guard. Y'all never talked about the old guard like this. Nah, I ain't gonna let it slide. Caitlin Clark, unanimous Rookie of the Year. But what's even more impressive, she's first team WNBA. First.
Even the Rookie of the Year award wasn't safe from controversy. Caitlin should have been the unanimous winner, yet somehow Angel Reese snagged a single vote. Who is this mysterious voter? They need to be exposed. This was Caitlin's award, and the WNBA's failure to make it unanimous is a slap in the face. She was the first rookie to post a triple-double and led the league in assists as a rookie, for crying out loud. And now, we're seeing the full effect of Caitlin Clark's absence. Viewership is crashing, and fans are tuning out.
Is that the reason the league is up as a whole, every single team's ratings, are because Caitlin Clark entered the league. If she would not have joined the WNBA, these numbers would not be the way that they are with or without her, right? If she was not in the WNBA, these games would be, I hate to say it, but somewhat irrelevant, right? Just like they were last season. And people were not tuning in nearly to the same extent they are this season. So it's not about Caitlin Clark not being in the finals or being in the finals. It's the fact that Caitlin Clark is in the league that is allowing other teams to still have these pretty decent ratings in the finals, even though Caitlin Clark is not there. That is the point.
Even Aja Wilson is feeling the heat, admitting that more people are calling her game boring this year than ever before. No wonder she's frustrated. Despite winning MVP, Wilson hasn't had anywhere near the impact on the WNBA that Caitlin has. Aja hit 1,000 points and nobody's talking about it. Why? Because everyone's still talking about Caitlin Clark. Her absence is a black hole the WNBA can't fill no matter how hard they try.
Aja Wilson is carrying the league. It ain't Caitlin Clark, it's Aja Wilson.
But she's not more popular than Caitlin Clark. We know Aja Wilson is a way better basketball player. Way better basketball player.
Way better, yeah.
More popular? No. She's not more popular than Caitlin Clark, man. Caitlin Clark got followers, man. People watch her. Listen, people watch the WNBA right now because of her, not because of Wilson. She's just a bonus.
Caitlin Clark. That's who you want?
I have to put her one.
She hasn't played a minute.
I know she hasn't.
She hasn't played a minute.
I know she hasn't, but these teams have never sold out their season tickets ever in the history of the WNBA. We've never had 2 million people watch the WNBA draft in the history of the WNBA. They're watching it for her. And it's totally fair to not put her one, but that's my reasoning.
Here's the harsh truth. The WNBA failed to protect Caitlin Clark. All season long, she endured physical play that went unpunished. In the playoffs, it was no different. The Connecticut Sun series was brutal. Clark was fouled hard, repeatedly, yet the referees barely intervened. The WNBA allowed this to happen, and now they're paying the price. This wasn't just a few bad calls, it was a pattern, and it's killing the league's biggest draw.
All of this success, every bit of it, is due to the presence of one player in the league, and that is a generational talent named Caitlin Clark, who, of course, you've heard of. And still probably the only WNBA player whose name you know. She's the reason the WNBA just won the lottery. Without Caitlin Clark, nobody cares about any of these players or the league. With her, Most people still don't care, but a lot more people care than did before. And everybody knows that, right? They're allowing all of their worst personality traits to surface because they just can't help themselves. Some of these cheap shots look like, they look a lot like criminal assault, but of course they aren't prosecuted.
Caitlin Clark is more than a player. She's the future of the WNBA. Without her, the league is scrambling and fans are checking out. The WNBA missed its chance to protect its star, and now it's suffering the consequences. Fans saw what happened. They watched as Clark was battered and bruised with little intervention. Social media is buzzing with outrage, and the WNBA is facing a crisis of fan loyalty.
She's looked absolutely marvelous, regardless of whatever noise has been out there. So when you show that you're able to perform in the face of adversity, to me, that is the true testament to greatness.
To make matters worse, the one person who voted for Angel Reese over Caitlin for Rookie of the Year remains anonymous. Why? This isn't some trivial issue. It's a slap in the face to the player who single-handedly elevated the WNBA to new heights. The league needs to reveal who this voter is and hold them accountable. Fans are angry, and rightfully so. The WNBA has made it clear they didn't protect their star, and now they're losing their audience.
Caitlin Clark wins the Rookie of the Year. There was one vote for Angel Reese, everybody else for Caitlin Clark. This is what's happening, is the voters are now putting out on social media, hey, it wasn't me. Hey, it wasn't me. Hey, it wasn't me. I don't know if somebody comes out and says, hey, I voted for Angel Reese, which it is your, that's your prerogative. You can. I've voted and had people criticize my votes, but I had no problem telling people. I was proud to be a voter in the NBA. And if you want to be critical of me, that's okay. I have, my defense there. Somebody thinks Angel Reese was the Rookie of the Year. Fine. Maybe it's a writer who covered her team in Chicago. Okay. It's not the end of the world. I don't know if Caitlin Clark's going to go, can you believe I didn't go unanimous? Now, I thought we would have unanimous MVP and unanimous Rookie of the Year. You got that with Asia Wilson, but Caitlin Clark all but won, and I don't think it's going to ruin her summer. I don't.
Moving forward, the WNBA must act fast. Caitlin Clark can't be replaced, but the league needs to figure out how to survive without her, at least for the next 200 days while she's on her break. The WNBA needs a plan, or it risks losing the momentum Clark created. And if they don't protect her when she returns, don't be surprised if she's lured away by bigger opportunities overseas.
Caitlin Clark is not worried about it. She had a breakout rookie season. She just got Rookie of the Year. And now she is continuing to take the high road, like I mentioned before, by giving her fans a heartwarming message saying this, quote, year one, check. Thank you to the many people who have supported me as I've been able to live my childhood dream. I'm filled with gratitude as I reflect on this past year of my life. See you all in year two. Having been in the league, she's helping a lot of others to not just accomplish their dream because they're already in the league, but accomplish their dream more so in the fact that now people are paying more attention, right? There's a potential to make more money because
Caitlin Clark is the future of basketball, not just for the WNBA, but for women's sports as a whole. The WNBA needs to realize that and do everything in its power to keep her. If they don't, they'll lose the star who made them relevant and the fans who came along for the ride.